And a few hours ago, Yola Mishore told the Rise News that accounts from January 2022 to June 2023 had been audited, presented to the National Working Committee and submitted to the INEC in accordance with the Electoral Act. He says Lukman has a personal frugality deficiency, quote unquote, which he tried to burden on the National Secretariat.
Well, Salihu Lukman, APC's National Vice Chairman, whom you saw moments ago, is with us live. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Well, what exactly is your grouse? I mean, Omishori, the National Secretary of the party, says, we have cleaned our books, we have submitted them, and there is no foul play whatsoever. What are your suspicions, really? Are you saying that there might be some kind of financial, foul play between the national chairman of the party and the national secretary?
Well, the main issue is that the provision of our constitution should be complied with. What is the provision of our constitution? The provision of our constitution says that we are obligated to present financial report to National Executive Committee. Now, I hear, and this is not the first time, the National Secretary say that the finances of the party has been audited. I challenge them. No member of the National Working Committee, maybe with the exception of the National Chairman and National Secretary, and perhaps the Financial Secretary and Treasurer, and maybe National Auditor. Maybe they know who is even the auditor. We don't know who is the auditor. We have not cited any report. It is true, I think some weeks back, about 3 weeks back, I was made to understand I wasn't around. They brought a report which they said is part of the audit. My deduction is that that report is likely to be the management report of the audit, but the full report was not presented. And members of the National Working Committee said they cannot be ambushed. I wasn't there. This is not me. It's other members who were there said they cannot be ambushed. And that before we consider the report and approve it, we should be given the audit report at least 7 days before the meeting. So we study it and we can make informed commentary. Now, since then, they withdrew the report, and till today, no member of the National Working Committee, maybe with the exception of those I mentioned, has cited the audit report. Now, by our constitution, if you are presenting financial report, it's not the national chairman or national secretary that is responsible to present the report to NEC. It's the National Working Committee. They should go and read the constitution, and I challenge them about that. Why are we moving back and forth on all these matters? I have said in the morning when I addressed the press, we made more than 30 billion. My colleagues have corrected me. They said we actually made 32 billion during the sales of form before the primaries. And for the off-season election, we must have made additional money. Altogether, we must have about 35 billion or thereabout. That does not include what we may have inherited from the caretaker committee. Now, all this, we don't have the records. And so far, we are expected to prepare a budget which should be approved by the National Executive Committee meeting. And I said so. I was scandalized yesterday when I heard the National Secretary say the party has submitted the budget to INEC. INEC is not the approving authority. The National Executive Committee is the approving authority for our budget. Now, all this money, I am told at the moment, we don't have up to 7 billion. What has happened to all the money? More than close to 30 billion. No member outside the national chairman and the national secretary can account for that. And this is what the meeting of the National Executive Committee should be addressing. We cannot continue as if we are unaccountable. The beauty of democracy is about accountability. Yesterday, the National Secretary made the point that the INEC, the National Executive Committee has donated its powers to the National Working Committee. It's not true. National Working Committee, the National Executive Committee donated its power for 90 days from April 20th, 2022. By August, those 90 days has lapsed. So there are clear issues about the management of the finances, and it needs to be presented to the National Executive Committee. We cannot continue as if we don't have rules.
All right, he's made his point.
We have rules. As a ruling party, we should be setting standard for politics in this country. We can't afford to allow the reckless conduct of the national chairman and national secretary to continue like this.
Okay, that's good to know. We appreciate your position. But then we also understand that consultation, consolidation should come before confrontation. Why are you bringing up this at this time? Have you had, at any time had any form of consultation with them?
First, let me say I started raising this issue as far back as May 2022, when I saw the direction we are going. Because I have been in this party from its formation. I have been active in the debate that led to the dissolution of the working committee led by Comrade Adamu Oshimole. I was active in the debate leading to the convention that removed the caretaker committee led by His Excellency Memala Buni. So I know all the challenges. So once I saw we were drifting, I started raising alarm internally. And sincerely speaking, I have read this internally. I wrote more than internally, not the one outside. I wrote more than 7 letters to the national chairman. I challenge anybody till today. The national chairman has not deemed it fit to call me and discuss the issues that are being raised. We have had a situation about 10 days ago where when the governors came and we met with them, I went there prepared, hoping that these issues are going to come up. My colleagues read the issue that the issues I'm raising should form part of the agenda. And the national chairman said, no, that will constitute distraction. And for that reason, they were not. But during the meeting, people commented on it. I tried to speak at the meeting, and I wasn't even going to address the issues. I was going to appeal that such meetings should continue, and we should have the courage to open our mind and address all the grievances that all of us have. Now, I don't know, part of the challenge which made me to go to court is that meetings of statutory organs are blocked. What are the statutory organs? National Advisory Council, National Caucus, National Executive Committee. All these meetings are blocked. Since we came in, no meeting of National Caucus has taken place. No meeting of the National Advisory Council has not been inaugurated. And if you read our constitution, Article 13 or thereabout clearly stipulated it is the responsibility of the National Secretary to convene meeting of National Advisory Council within 1 month after our election. And the membership of the National Advisory Council are clearly stated in the Constitution. Yesterday, I hear the National Secretary scandalously saying we are going to National Executive Committee meeting to seek approval for the membership before the meeting. We don't need the approval. The Constitution expressly defines who are members.
Yes, if I may come in, Mr. Vice National Chairman. In response, I wonder what your response would be to the National Secretary Yola Omishore, who says you're the black sheep of the party and just, simply a trouble maker. You actually accused them, you were quoted as, accusing them of not supporting President Tinubu, candidate Tinubu during the elections, that they did not want, that's Adamu and Omishore did not want Tinubu to win the election. You want to speak to those?
Well, it's not a secret. The point I made about not supporting not just the president, but also not supporting all our candidates financially. No kobo has been contributed by the party to any of our candidates from the president down the line, which was not the precedence we inherited. During the 2019 election, under the leadership of Comrade Adams Oshimole, all our candidates received financial support from the party at a time when the party didn't have the kind of money we generated. Now, talking about whether I'm a black sheep, he spent a lot of time talking about my so-called antecedents, and the national chairman always talk about how I was sacked. I mean, look, whatever they see in my antecedents or in my profile, certainly they will not see anywhere I am accused of either murder or accused of being associated with witches. That will be my response.
And very quickly, you've also said there are plans to remove the national chairman, Abdullahi Adamu. Are you one of those planning to remove him?
No, I never hide that. I started making that call immediately after the election because we contested the election based on Muslim ticket, and it was purely an electoral strategy. Now, after winning the election, if we want to ensure that the government of Asuwaju take off on a smooth scale, we needed to adjust and open up in such a way that the diversity of this country is respected and recognized. And it was on that basis I started campaigning that the choices for leadership of the National Assembly has to be taken into consideration the need to respect diversity. It was on that basis I said, as part of that, I think the national chairman should make the sacrifice and resign so that a Christian national chairman from the same North Central can come in. That was immediately after election. Now, from all that has happened, instead of engaging in debate around the issues, I have been condemned. And for me, what that meant is that we are having two critical leaders, national chairman and national secretary, who are distant from any progressive tradition. Progressive tradition is about confronting challenges and confronting our problems. Now, instead of doing that, they are in denial. Now, not only that, in recent time, what I have seen is also some element of either incompetence or deliberately trying to manipulate the party in a direction that will lead to self-destruction. And I think, for me, that in itself is enough to continue with the campaign, to say, no, these guys have to go.
All right.
They don't share the vision.
Thank you very much.
That led to the formation of the party.
Mr. Saliu Lukman, you sound like you still have a lot to reel out, but time will not permit us to go on with you. We can only wish that you'll be able to resolve this somehow amicably. Thank you for joining us on Newsnight.
No, I'm confident we'll resolve it. I'm confident.